Hello and welcome to this LEGO Masters Season 4 finale review. Woo! We've made it!
Yeah!
And can we do the 3, 2, 1?
I had no idea what we were doing.
You knew it! No, you did it!
I did.
Listen to the Bionicle!
Oh.
I mean, I wore this and it wasn't even on purpose.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, the Bionicle Lore Master won LEGO Masters.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby! Let's go!
Woo, let's go.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. There is a big red spoilers
Yeah,
bar
yeah.
right here before the video starts.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the finale of Season 4. We got 4 people here to talk about it.
Whoa, season 4 finale, 4 people.
A 4 for 4?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It's
that's
fantastic.
done.
Wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Wendy's, I think. Anyway,
They don't have it anymore. So
but yeah, so it was a great episode, very fun. I think it was a good season overall. We've all talked about it. We've all seen the finale episode, ready to go. Let's start with who wants to share their thoughts on some of the builds and episodes. Okay, so Alex, let's talk about your suit for a second.
You're
here.
so dressed up.
This is in honor of Christopher and Robert.
Yeah.
Huge Duck Bricks fan for a few years now, so I'm very happy.
You guys,
for them.
yeah.
We this whole time, Garrett and I were like Duck Bricks.
Since
is gonna
first
win.
episode,
We've been
yeah.
with you. Mark and Joe have had their doubts, but we've stuck with you the
Hey,
whole time.
listen, don't throw me under the
We
bus.
weren't
I
like
will
downers,
say-
but we're like maybe he could win.
I
You
never
were-
heard of him before the show.
You guys weren't quite as big of haters as Daniel.
Yes.
But
We all know Daniel is a critic, though. You know, he's
Of
going to hate
course.
on everybody.
He's out of town, so he's not even in
we
this
can
video.
rub it. We can rub in his face next week.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So overall, we're pretty happy with Christopher and Robert winning LEGO
Mhm.
Masters.
Oh,
We
yeah.
all feel like this was the right choice.
I would agree.
I think so.
I do.
Agree. I also agree. I think that the last few episodes have really solidified them as kind of leading the innovation, the ambition,
I mean,
kind of
4 straight wins.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
very crazy.
For season 4. I mean, there's a lot of 4s so far in this episode.
It makes total sense. It's not rigged in that way, but
Mhm.
you wouldn't be surprised if it was. But it's like,
Yeah.
no, they really won all those episodes.
and
Just
they
no
earned
arguing.
the wins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, let's talk about. I mean, we talked about Chris and Robert already. Let's talk about their build. I want to hear from. Let's start with Joe. What did you think about the giant plane build
It
itself?
was ambitious as always. You know,
Mhm.
they did the chair, and that was ambitious. And they've always had that extra level. They want to take it a little step farther.
Yeah.
And they've delivered. So it was like, I was like, yeah, they're going to do a big plane. That's probably going to be easy. But making it look good is
Yeah.
the hard part. And, you know, they had that point midway through where they were like, oh, man, our wings are like...
Mhm.
And then he just added a layer, and it was a lot better. Yeah, obviously, they're like this long, so they're going to sag some.
It wasn't bad.
That's to be expected, but there really wasn't that much sag. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then I really liked the way they incorporated the like rainbow in the cockpit and then the bridge. It made me think
That
of
was cool.
Mario Kart. But
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I thought it was cool because it was like very dreamlandish, and that's what they were going through before with all the clouds and the sleeping bed. So I liked how they incorporated all that. Adds another pop of color, as Amy would say.
Absolutely. Yeah, theirs was a very colorful.
It was
build.
very colorful. And then I saw on the like last minute, I saw on the wing they had a little outline of the world on it
Mhm.
actually, and I was like,
That's
oh,
what that
it's a
was,
nice
yeah,
little
that's
extra
nice.
detail they put there.
frantically
Yeah,
putting
I
dots
was, I
on.
was
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
impressed with the detail they were able to put in such
Yeah.
a large scale build.
Absolutely, it was a giant build. Did you like the giant plane as well, Alex? As being a fan of Dark Force, I'm guessing you're a big fan of this build too.
I did. I think airplanes are just eye-catching. Anytime I'm near the airport and a plane goes overhead, it's just, over the years, it's just never grown old to me.
Yeah.
So, and I think we don't have enough planes. I mean, the big thing about this season finale for the first time
Mhm.
is that the winner got
It's
to
true.
make their own Lego set. They're going
Absolutely, for
to
sure.
release that. And
So we're looking forward to
We
this
don't-
plane set.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We do not have enough planes. There's never enough Lego planes out there. So
Agreed.
Planes and trains.
of all the builds, even though each one were amazing in their own way, I think theirs was the best and the one that I wanted most as a Lego set.
Yeah.
Their planes. So.
Very cool. Yeah. And then Garrett, yeah, you were a fan of the plane as well.
Man, it was insane.
Mhm.
I mean, 8 foot by 8 foot. How do you even like? When they first started the challenge, they were like, "All right, come up with something and start building." Like my mind would have exploded. Like I wouldn't have been able to start. And they just were immediately like, "Okay, we're gonna go the biggest thing that's ever been built."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, they're starting off strong, and I mean, their build reflected that.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And like Alex says, we don't get planes a lot, so looking at it from the perspective of this is going to be a set,
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to see this big dream plane.
Yeah, the Dreamliner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I think it's going to be really cool if they incorporate those scenes on top as well, very well
Definitely.
in the set. And obviously, because of the scale, they hopefully will have minifigures of them, which would be pretty cool to have. And obviously, some people are going to be really excited about that.
So yeah, we were talking about this before we started filming. It's like, how cool would it be to have a Christopher and a Robert minifigure to go in your collection? That'd be fun.
That would be
that's really
cool. And then, that would be a flex over you. So
Yeah, definitely an official Duck Bricks minifig. I mean, I think he would be over the moon for that.
Yeah.
So I think that the plane did deserve to win. It was the best build in the room, but not like by a crazy margin. The tree was really cool. I liked what Paul and Nalita were doing over there too. So there's some good stuff going on. I think the plane deserved to win. Me and Steven actually called it before they even started judging. We're like, who's going to win? We're like, it's probably Christopher and Robert. I mean, it just would make sense.
It does. It does make sense.
Yeah.
You can look at all the builds and go, I would pick that. So it's like, that's kind of, obviously they look at more details than the average person does. But one of the things they added to the judging was, will this be a good set? Obviously they didn't say try to make it that way, but
you got to think about that.
You got to definitely think, all right, will this be a cool set? And Treehouse, we've got no Treehouse, and it's different style, still would be cool, but it's not something that's unique and new.
We get a lot of creator houses. Yeah.
I did really love the architecture of the house, but not the whole big gray slab it was on.
Yeah. While we're talking about Paul and Alita's build, let's go ahead and go on down the line of that. Garrett, what did you think about the architecturally inspired house on the cliffside? What was your thoughts on that?
I really liked their build. They're, if they had won, hypothetically, that set I think could have made for the best Winter Village set we've ever gotten.
Yeah, it was very close to that.
Really cool. It would have been a really cool Winter Village set. But like we said, that the big, they just wasn't enough detail on this cliff face it was sitting on. Me and you talked about this recently in a Winter Village video, but I'm not a big fan of completely white snow-covered roofs, and that's what they had. I would have liked to seen a little detail to break up that roof on it.
Yeah.
And but I mean, overall, I did really like it. I think the sled aspect of it was kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
But it was cool they tried to add some kind of power function.
So, Alex, did you have a conflicting opinion there about the sled function? Did you like that?
At first when I saw, I was like, is this going to be another roller coaster? But then when I saw the sled part of it, I'm like, that's so fun. It just really blended in well. But it didn't take away from the main part of the build the house. And
it wasn't overwhelming.
So I thought it really was very balanced.
It was very creative.
There you go. Yeah.
I liked it.
And you liked the architectural, the medium blue, the characters inside, were some of those things speaking to you as well? So.
I did, yeah, and I think Stephen made a good point when we had the watch party. There wasn't much contrast in the colors between the blue and the dark
gray.
bluish gray. I think it would have been nice to see a better contrast there to really
Some
catch
more bright
the eye.
colors, yeah.
And because their tree was so nice, but there was only one. It did such a good job and all the decorations inside and everything. And I'm really sad that so much time was spent on the kind of the slope itself. That was very time consuming, I know, for them.
Yeah,
but
big
it really
mountain.
took away from their decorations.
Yeah, so they spent a lot of time on that landscape, and that means they have a little less time to really finish off all those details. So maybe a balancing thing there. But yeah, what did you think, Joe, about the build overall?
The roller coaster piece was like something I thought could have been cool if they'd incorporated it as a ski slope or something going down the mountainside. But the sled, no one was even in the sled. It was just kind of there.
A little smaller.
It didn't really give any addition, and they also spent time on that they could have done. And I agree with Garrett. I think what would have really made their build pop a lot more is added, at least 5 more of those trees all over it. Would have made it so much better, actually, because you'd look at it and go, wow, nice house. It's on this hill with these trees. But without anything on top of it, it's just a big gray slab that they spent way too long on. It didn't even have a lot of white speckling on it either, so there wasn't like that big old snow piece here or here to kind of give it that extra color. It was just gray.
Yeah, a lot of gray bricks going on.
I think that's what took them down to the third place spot, was they missed extra stuff. It was more like they did the bare minimum with what they were doing and didn't have time to do any extra flourishing.
Yeah, which is surprising because 24 hours, you have to be careful not to go too far into one aspect of your build. Otherwise, you won't have time to finish, even with that large amount of time. Yeah. So, yeah. But Paul and Alita ended up getting third. The way they phrased it was confusing to me at first.
The second.
Yeah, I thought it was second. Yeah.
And I was like, so the person they're naming is getting second?
Yeah,
and Paul and Alita, I'm like, oh, okay. They're third. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. He should have just said the third place instead of the second runner-up. That definitely made it very confusing.
Why would they phrase it that way? Anyway, they
make him feel better.
But congrats to Paul and Alita.
They did fantastic.
It's still an amazing accomplishment to make it to the finale.
Yeah.
I mean,
top 3 is like, that's as far as you can go in the show. It's a very memorable position.
Yeah.
You made it to that podium at the end when your family is there. That's really cool. Sweet. So kudos to them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then following up them, Nina and Sam were the team that just fell short of that huge, amazing plane, but they had a huge tree. It was, I think it was almost 6 feet tall.
It was more than 6 feet tall.
Yeah,
it was
that's
taller
like my
than
height.
Sam.
It's bigger than them, yeah.
So, gigantic build. Joe, what did you think about the tree overall?
So I kind of was skeptical about it when they started because it was like it could just be this tall thing that doesn't look that good. But there was a lot of open studs on it, but I really did like that they decided to do the different seasons and add a story on it, add color on it. If those had just been maybe a little bigger, it would have made the tree look a little more full. And then the top of the tree just had some kind of circular green discs. If they had added a little bit more up there, it would have felt more like, wow, look at this big tree instead of look at this big tree. You know, it didn't have as much presence.
A little more full.
It could have been full. It is still very impressive, and they were always, throughout the show, were very good at bricks per minute. Like, they could throw down some bricks, man. They had the speed that was just insane. But because of that, they went super big and weren't able to do as many fine detailing. But I still really like theirs, and I think second place was right for them.
I think it made sense for me. But hopefully people in the comments will let us know whether they thought, oh no, it should have been Paul and Alita, or it should have been
who should have won,
Sam and Nina.
In your opinion.
Let us know, because I know there's differing opinions. I think most of us here at the store kind of feel like Chris and Robert got it.
Yeah, I think they earned it.
But Alex, what did you think about the giant tree from Sam and Nina?
It was amazing. I mean, it was so big. I feel like I didn't really get to grasp how big it was until the end when they were standing next to it.
It's on the ground, basically.
It's like dwarf by it. It's bigger than Sam.
That was funny to see how the scale ended up.
But I think as a team, I mean, throughout the show, amazing builds. They did a great job, but they were very adaptable. I mean, even in this episode, it was around, I don't know, the middle. The judges come by, give them some feedback that they need to have kind of more of a story with it, but also to flow more. And Nina gets right to with Sam, let's talk about this.
So
what do you think about seasons? And that seasons part really made their build shine.
Very good addition.
I love that. It really makes your eye move through it. It's eye catching. That they had even I think it was the springtime, had his dad cutting grass out there. The little different. I think just the motors and everything, and that they had the electronics working on that. Each leaf was a lot of fun. And I love the personal side of their story with that. And through the different seasons, it just flowed very well, and I liked it.
Yeah, fantastic. It was maybe just a pivot as far as ideas and kind of color concepts, but it really helped tie together what could have been a little bit more of a plain build otherwise. But what did you think about Sam and Nina's final build, Garrett?
It was wild to see it start out on the table, and then they had 3 layers of it, and it was that's really big. And then all of a sudden they moved it to the ground and kept going, and it was oh my god.
It's huge.
I mean, they're probably the fastest builders we've ever seen on LEGO Masters.
I would actually agree with that.
I don't think we've ever seen a team start a season with so much energy and just amazing designs and builds and
engineering.
They came out with so much steam in the beginning. It was unreal.
Yeah.
And they really never slowed down.
No, they didn't. It just got to a point where it was man, they just built a 5-foot grandfather clock. Yeah, that's what they do. They're really good. That's about right.
Yeah.
It became the norm for them,
I mean, they just were so good that it almost, they got to a point with me where I was that's what I expect from them at this point. But The final build, I mean, it was, a really, really good set. I loved the way, they did all the seasons. I would have liked to have seen those leaf elements be a little bigger and maybe a little fuller.
A little more fleshed out.
Because they kind of just felt like platforms more than like
leaves
on a tree. But overall, I think it was a phenomenal build, a great one to end a season on. They should be very proud of themselves for making it all the way to this end and being probably one of the most standout teams in any season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of the builds that they did on the normal time
They
frame.
built a area rug out of Lego.
Yeah, still ridiculous.
What?
In a 10-hour challenge,
What?
I think it was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
22,000 pieces?
That was still crazy.
What?
Yeah.
So, regardless of their position, they have that under their belt.
Double golden brick winnings from them.
That's
So,
true.
yeah, back to back, basically. That was pretty crazy.
They'll be a team that people will not forget.
Exactly. Unforgettable performance from them. So, yeah, I think all three teams did really good throughout the season, but the way it shook out made total sense. So, a good episode overall. I felt like I wanted this to be a longer episode.
Yeah.
The edit was pretty quick, and then, because of the way the 3 days of 24-hour filmings is structured, the second day you don't get a lot of filming done. So they're starting the builds, they're getting their ideas done, and then suddenly, after a commercial break, everybody's build has progressed a lot. And you're kind of like, wow, the plane's just fleshed out, or they have a whole blue building on top of their cliff now, and you didn't really see that.
Wait, they don't just lock them in a warehouse with no water or food for 24 hours?
You'd be
That
surprised,
would've been
yeah.
a better
I could have
thing.
sworn that's what they did.
Yeah. Anyway, but
I don't remember what I was gonna say.
it's all good. It's a good train of thought is derailed. It's good. So.
It's just too much.
But so I think that the Fox is putting Lego Masters in a box a little bit, but it still was pretty enjoyable. Now, for me, I feel like there was a common theme for all three of these builds, and that they were really trying to make them as big as possible.
Oh, yeah.
That was one thing that everybody was really trying to do, and I think that it definitely worked. These were three of the largest builds we've ever seen on Lego Masters, besides maybe the area rug. And but at the same time, I felt like we've talked about some of the slight weaknesses with all three of them, and it's because they might have run out of time a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think we might have reached the limits of what's physically possible and still get a relatively complete mock. So unless they increase the hours or they increase the number of people on the team, which I don't think is going to happen.
That'd be interesting.
Weird.
Yeah, it'd be if you had 3 people on a team, that'd be wild.
3 people teams, finale's 48 hours to build.
We would have some insane things.
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely.
But overall, I think we relatively enjoyed it.
I will say that was one of the drama-less
Yeah.
episodes of a finale I've seen. There was, at one point, Weldon Arnett's just like, I need drama to go to commercial break. There was very little drama. They tried a little bit with the wings, but it was like, no, we're fine, we'll fix it. But there was really not much drama. Everything went pretty smoothly. He dropped the roof at the end.
Paul did
That was
drop
the
the
most
roof.
drama.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that much.
It came apart in like 4 pieces.
Yeah,
That
it
was
wasn't.
They
It
handled
wasn't
it
like they
well.
dropped the house. You know?
Yeah, the roof, they seem to have gotten back together after the commercial break
Yeah.
very quickly, got it back on there, and they're like, oh yeah, that works, so it's fine.
Yeah, so I was impressed with that because I don't really care about the drama.
Yeah.
It's extra.
I'm actually really happy for season 4. It seemed that even though they had the villain narrative for Christopher, it seems like everybody really got along very well. Like there was like literally no animosity. The fact that like Sam immediately runs over, gives the 2 guys a hug after they've won.
Oh, it was
I mean,
pretty
like
awesome.
that's just a really cool vibe throughout the whole show. And I
And
hope-
then they asked, Nina, like, hey, how do y'all feel? And she was like, these guys are awesome. Like, she immediately was like, they deserved it. Like, they earned it. We're not upset they beat us. Like, we learned a lot from them. So, yeah, I would agree. Like, they just all really enjoyed spending time with each other.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've enjoyed spending time with you guys, but I think that's really covers the episode.
We cannot end this season finale review without talking about that baby picture of Duckman.
Yes, you're right.
He's got a good point.
Leading
That
into that.
that was adorable.
Will Arnett asked his dad when the family's gone, like, has he ever been villainous before? And
Has he ever had that tendency?
That was
I mean,
such a good
what?
picture. That was adorable.
What an evil-looking 2-year-old.
Yeah, he was like, I'm going to hack into the system.
I have downloaded your bank information.
His dad's like, I have this one picture.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was a perfect picture.
That was great.
Yeah, he's like, I've got your IP address right here.
So just had to bring that up.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that Christopher had the very, very interesting story arc.
Yeah,
The whole thing. He started out, it was like, oh, we're tech bros. And then he's like, oh, we're villains.
Yeah.
And then they were villains for quite a while. Christopher. But then they finally eased up and were like, we're really just so happy we're winning these challenges. So, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, Chris is such a nice person, and he was so respectful throughout the whole show, even though he was cast as kind of a villain. He really did play the role.
Oh, yes.
He did very well.
For sure. But then, I mean, even in the final build he and Robert did, one of it is Kenya, and he goes there to,
help people,
helps,
exactly.
Kids and with computers, things.
Lego classes? How
Yeah,
was that?
that's
Very solid.
This was definitely a season where I feel like every team just had a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah.
And what they were doing.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, kudos to all of them. It's a great vibe, and I hope that I think that there is going to be a season 5, and maybe even a Lego Masters Junior. So hopefully they continue with that good, family-friendly, fun vibe that everyone seems to have a warm, fuzzy feeling after watching. So
keep bringing Lego Master Australia stuff into it.
Exactly. Yeah. The more they learn from the Aussies, the better it'll be. I think. Yeah.
Just make it that show, please.
Yeah, exactly.
With the accents too.
There you go.
We could get some more interesting accents, maybe. I mean, the Canadians are close.
They're
but,
pretty good.
Anyway, all that fun aside, thank you guys so much for your thoughts and opinions. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is there's only 3 builds. This is it.
Yeah.
Great. We're all happy.
And that's it.
That's a wrap, guys.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know who you thought should have won.
That's right.
If it's not Christopher and Robert, although we're pretty unanimous on that point. But this is the last of season 4. But if there's a season 5 comes out, which we are expecting it to, we'll be covering that too.
As well as any winter holiday ones.
Yes, we've got some more of those coming up soon. I believe we're seeing previews for that already.
So we'll also review those.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.